going, guys? We're gonna get started in just a second. Waiting for everybody to join up, and then we'll go over the CPI price action and everything that has to do with that. All right. So CPI candle went out the screen, and I think we discussed this last night in Swology. I was expecting uh, if it didn't want to push down here, it's gonna go attack these highs here. Obviously, it could go up or down, right? But specific levels, I think we attack 41.83 today, right? This high right here on ES, because ESM and ES are complete. They're the same, but they're different in the sense that it's different contracts. So I think that we can continue pushing higher here. On ES, what this would look like is are these highs here. So let's just go at MES. Matter of fact, so on MES, right? MES already took out this high, right? This is the high we're watching for ES, right? For ESM, right? So ESM, right, hasn't taken out this high yet, this specific high. But see that? See that? That's the high in question. That's the high we're looking for today's price action. That's where my target is for today. On ES, the normal ES, the continuous contract, this high here is what I'm looking for. So 41.87 basically for both ends, right? 41.83, 41.87. That's where I'm looking for. So I'm looking for a push higher, right? Where would an ideal scenario for a push higher be? An ideal scenario for a push higher would definitely be from this low to this high, a 50% retracement at equilibrium. Once price reaches this level, right, that would be a super ideal scenario for a long into the 41.83. We had this huge move up, so I think we can expand higher, right? Typically with CPI, that might be the case, right? And so what I'm thinking here is SPY is again gapping up as well. SPY is gapping up as well here, right? Um, since SPY is gapping up, yes, there's going to be a huge gap, $3 gap right here, right? But I also think that, we're going to push higher, then later on fill the gap, okay? So this gap is going to be of interest maybe like later on for when price wants to start dumping, right? If there's signs and, reversal signs on the higher time frame, then we can start to look for some downside. But for right now, I wouldn't try to cast a top on this stuff here because it could get, it can get messy, bro. Like I wouldn't really try to, try to time the top or bottom. Let's just let price play out. Just let price play out. If we're looking at the 4 hour time frame, right? We came off this fair value gap here. Right, this fair value gap acted as heavy support for price to push higher, and so I do think we're gonna go tap 41.84 for today's trading session. It's gonna be the main area of interest, right? We can utilize the 15-minute EMAs for the pullback. So if price pulls back on the 15-minute time frame to the EMAs, we can see the continuation higher. Also, guys, if you're watching this, make sure you guys subscribe and make sure you guys leave a like. I'd really appreciate that. Again, it's very minor favor that you guys could do. So drop a like. Nobody's gonna know that you dropped a like on Steel Arms videos. I know I'm really handsome, so don't worry. All right. Nobody would think anything, right? All right. Anyways, going back to this here, looking at just waiting on that pullback. Basically, that's really what I care for. Again, let me just mark this. See, we are getting this pullback as we go through it, right? These fair value gaps here. So this low got ran through. There's a fair value gap here that's causing price to drop, right? So there's setups for the downside, right? There's setups that are actively forming here for the downside. You see it right here. These lows just get taken out because we want that pullback. So this low gets taken out. Price pulls back to the fair value gap. Starts dropping, right? 2 minute. There's a 3 minute fair value gap, I think. If not, then there's a 3 minute fair value gap here as well. So we're continuously pulling back into this 50% retracement. Then that's when I'll be looking for a setup to potentially go long. So maybe if I stay here long enough, we'll see a setup to go long. All right. Let's go over Tesla here. So we see here we're expanding out like this. We're somewhat consolidating on Tesla here, right? Consolidating on Tesla, and I'm basically expanding. This price breaking out here. Maybe a retest would be nice. Then a continuation higher in towards, for example, this level right here. Right, that's what I'd be looking for. And that would match with basically the box method where what's the word? The consolidation is gonna, the range of the consolidation is the range of the breakout, right? That's something that you can learn. And so we can probably see a continuation push from this gap up in towards this high right here. That will complete the day for Tesla's range, most likely. Just gonna eyeing ES here real quick. All right. We see, let's go over Apple real quick, and then that'll kind of wrap it up. So Apple, out of all the other stocks, hasn't moved anything, right? Hasn't done much. It's just still consolidating somewhat. And so again, if Apple breaks that 162.35 high, right? We can see a continuation higher in towards that gap fill, which would match with the box method, right? So I'm going to be looking for, I'm actually going to actively be looking for this trade as well. I don't trade anything else but ES, but I'd be actually actively looking for this trade in towards 164 area, right? 1 second, let me pull up this other chart. All right, cool. Again, let's go over ES real quick. All right, so ES is pulling back as mentioned. I just want to really catch this trade. It is pulling back again towards this 50% retracement. I'm looking for it to completely go below, then give me a sign of reversals, which would be potential shift in structure, right? a lower high getting taken out, then a fair value gap, then a push higher. That's how I'm going to be approaching this here. I'm not going to do it in this pre-market live, right? Because this is just for YouTube. All trades will be done in the Discord. Yeah, let's go over one more time. Let's see what Tesla's doing here. Again, the gap up. How I'll be treating this is I'll be using the EMAs on the 3 minute, 5 minute. So if it pulls back to it on the 3 minute, 5 minute, because once price opens, the EMAs are going to readjust, right? The EMAs are going to readjust automatically in towards this area. And once price pulls back into it, I'm going to be looking for some potential longs. Same thing with Apple, right? But with Apple, I'm actually just looking for 162.35 to get broken out of before I take a trade or whatnot, and then play the gap fill, right? With that being said, let's go over some AMD semiconductors, and then we'll call it a day here. Basically, AMD is kind of trying to break out. To be honest, it's in a huge higher time frame setup here. So I think this is eventually going to start breaking out as well. Yeah, dude, I think AMD could go above 100 again. I'm potentially going to be looking to swing some stuff for AMD, honestly, right? This actually doesn't look bad at all. So I'm probably going to get into an AMD swing today or tomorrow, right? Just depends on how price action today is. And then, yeah, it's actually a really good, nice setup. I'm not going to lie. Actually, really, really nice setup. Yeah, I'll be looking for a breakout of 96 for AMD. So keep that on watch. If price breaks that out and holds it, then we can most likely see higher prices on AMD. Let's go over here. NVIDIA. Right. With NVIDIA here, it doesn't look as clean as AMD based on the setup alone. Based on the setup alone, it doesn't look as clean as AMD, right? Maybe it'll break out like this here. So it's consolidating again on a higher time frame. For the breakout, we'll see above 277.90, right? That would be the breakout of interest for a continuation higher. That's what I'll be looking for. But AMD looks a lot cleaner than NVIDIA setup. So I'll be watching AMD probably, I'll have my eyes on it more. I'm not trying to swing like 6 different semiconductors. I'll just pick one and swing it if it's a nice setup, and we'll leave it at that. Again, ES here just tapped into the 50% retracement as mentioned. I think we can end up looking for a bounce soon, right? Right here, so we're in that 50% retracement as mentioned, right? We can see a potential bounce, for example, going into the morning session, we can see a push into 41.88 level, 41.89, right? All these levels are going to be they're going to be in play, right? So simply just wait for, higher time frame levels to make sense as well, right? So for example, you want to see 15-minute reverse as well, and then you can utilize that to play the uptrend going into, for example, today maybe, right? Doesn't mean that it's going to rally all day today. Doesn't mean that it's going to keep pushing higher. Just the likelihood of it is potentially higher than whatnot. With that being said, this concludes today's session. Again, guys, I do appreciate it if everyone drops a like. And if there's a ticket request, I can take it. If not, then I'll call it. Lulu? Sure. All right, so Lulu gapped up here. How you're just going to be looking at the only way to trade Lulu here in this scenario is to either play the range to range, or so from the top of the range to the low of the range, or just simply wait for the breakout here of this consolidation, right? That's the only way to trade Lulu here. So either I'd wait for a breakout. I wouldn't try to play range to range. Either like this low gets taken out and you can short it, or that high gets taken out and you can long it. Okay. But I think it's gonna probably break down. I don't think Lulu's a, you know. And if you see here from, we're kind of in this downtrend still. So if it breaks out, it can push really high. If not, then you want to see some downside setups for Lulu. I don't trade QQQ. Amazon. Well, we can go over it though. We can. Amazon here, interesting setup. What we see here is just, so we had this breakout, and then with this level held. So what we see here now is, again, this pivot point still, but you have that high as well. And then from this low to this high, price pull back into the 50% retracement, right? And it's at 108, 189 level right now. So we have this gap here. That price can go fill, so that's going to be the main objective for Amazon today potentially. That gap fill. If market pushes, that's going to go. That's going to be the gap fill play for the day. That trade. So just watch it above 101 basically. Above 101, we can see that gap fill. Once that gap fills and price is still aggressive, we can see that high. Okay. With that being said, let's go over QQQ and then I'm going to call it here because I got to go to Discord. So QQQ, for watching this, it's gapping up $3, right? So it broke out of this. It's pushing higher. Same thing, really. If you're I'm gonna be looking at NQ, not QQQ. With NQ, it's just random paper trade. With NQ here, we're popping off, like there's a huge discrepancy between NQ and ES. NQ is already at these highs, right? So these highs has already been captured. ES has not touched these highs yet whatsoever. It hasn't even touched this high. So you see these highs here? Pretty similar, but they haven't been touched yet. That's where ES is going, by the way. And again, as mentioned, guys, look, market wizardry right here. We discussed the 50% retracement on price. Right here, look. So you see how we're bouncing off this area? Look right here. So there was your free trade idea, guys, right? So everybody should have ate right here, right? So the 50% retracement, price pulls back to it inside the fair value gap, reversal candle, and then you have this long. Okay, there you go. Cool. Give you guys just sauce right there. All right. Yeah, with NQ, I could see a continuation again. It's the same thing, but we could see price go back up in towards these highs, right? It's gonna potentially expand out of this fair value gap and slightly push higher maybe. You want to be seeing it how it reacts at these key levels here. So you want to see if it can reclaim this. So there's equal highs up here as well. So you want to see a push into, for example, for today, a push into 13,243, and then eventually a push into 13,348. Right, those would be your main key levels for QQQ, right? Like, let me mark it out for you. Right here and right here. That's what you're looking for, push for. So it's coming out of this consolidation still consolidating. So if it comes out of it, it's gonna be great. But alright guys, I appreciate everyone, and I'll see you guys in the Discord. Take care. Peace out.